Welcome, Drink with James, episode 51. It's my second time on camera today. Earlier today, I went to a studio that's like right at the bottom of the Flatiron building and filmed something for this thing called Cheddar TV, which is trying to do something interesting in the media space. So it was kind of strange because I had to talk about influencers and all this stuff, and I was sober, which is something I generally not when I speak on camera, as you know. But if they do put that up, Tim will throw a link up here. I have no idea if they're going to put it up online or not, but I think they will. So there's that. What else? We had a big week. We had our black tie birthday party last week. Well, this week, but last week when this airs. So every year, Rich, my co-founder, and Grace, who y'all probably know as well, all have birthdays like within a week of each other. So every year we have a black tie birthday party. So we got like 150 amazing, beautiful people into a room, got them into black tie, and drank an incredible amount of booze. It was a fantastic time. If you weren't there, you missed it. We got a guest next week, so we haven't done that in a minute. Tim and I just sent a bunch of emails out. We're lining people up, but next week we have a guest, so it's not just me. It's going to be a handsome man who's going to be joining us, so that's something to be excited about. I was just telling Tim it's 90 degrees here in New York today, and it's a little harder to like pour the scotch out when it's 90, but I do it for y'all, so you are welcome. So first of all, yes, that is networking. If someone wants to hang out with you, that is networking, 100%. I often say like get coffee or get drinks, but I do think that like the yoga thing is an interesting and overlooked thing, is that you can kind of think of different things that you might want to do and invite people along for that. We've had our salespeople have done networking at spin classes, they've gone to gyms, they've gone to museums, they've gone on day trips with clients. So it kind of runs the gambit of what you can do. But these, again, we say all the time, like these people are people and you should treat them like people, and this is a relationship-based business. So, just do what you would want to do with somebody else, just like hang out with them. It doesn't have to be this very structured thing. I was talking to an influencer recently and saying they were talking about networking and trying to come up with ideas of what they could do. And I think, as influencers, you probably get invited to a good amount of events and cool parties and things like that. And those are also really good opportunities to pull other brand people in. So if you have something that, I wouldn't take another brand person to like a store opening or a store event, something that's not like super exciting. But if it seems like it's going to be a cool event and it's going to be something kind of special, maybe instead of bringing your friend, reach out to one of those brand people and say, hey, I'm going to this event, it looks really cool, why don't we grab a drink beforehand and then go to this thing. It keeps it nice and tight. You're taking them to this cool industry thing that maybe they didn't get invited to, and you get the time to hang out with them. So that's another like networking tip.
Could you be doing more?
Yeah, so the first time, I remember I used to have a sales job, and when I walk into an event, I don't like to talk to anybody really. I prefer that people just come up to me, know me, and speak to me. So like going up to people and just holding out my hand and being like, hi, I'm James, what do you do? Is like literally my hell. But I worked for this woman, she's incredible, and the first like work event that we had, she like knew a bunch of people there. We walked in together. I'd been on the job like 2 weeks, and she like hooked a left, and she's like, all right, I'll meet you in an hour and a half. Don't come back with less than 10 business cards. And I was just like, okay. And it forced me to go out and do like things that I wasn't super comfortable with, of just like going up to strangers and being like, hi, what do you do? Let's talk. But it does really work, and that's something that we do here internally. Like we send someone into an event, it's like, don't come back without, 5 or 10 business cards. Like force yourself to say, I am going to go outside of my comfort zone and I'm going to try and meet more people. And that is just once you're inside the event. Because I think what's easy is you go to an event, you find a friendly face and you just latch onto that person. You're like, cool, I'm not talking to anybody else. But especially if it's an event that's a little kind of exclusive, you have to understand, like the crowd there is probably going to be pretty interesting. And there's going to be somebody in there that can help you and that could potentially help your career. So you got to force yourself to do that. And then the other side is just going to more events. I do think it's easy to skip these things, but force yourself, make a schedule and stick to it and say, I'm going to do 2 networking events a week. And when I do those 2 events, I'm going to get 5 business cards. So that's 10 new people a week, and maybe 2 of them a week are, people that can actually help you or be interesting to you. But, that's 8 new people a month. That's 48 people a year. Like that could be huge for your business. So I don't think people do networking enough. Like, people are generally there to network, and it's an uncomfortable thing. And I do think that there is like a melting away of social norms where like you can just go up and say, hey, what's going on? Like, my name is James. Like, these things are kind of awkward, huh? What do you do? Find people that are kind of sitting in the corner, not talking to anyone. That will be more effective than like bursting into the middle of a circle and being like, hi, how's it going? Because that's just awkward. I think this is saying like, should you own the product before you do the pitch? Like, you definitely do not have to own the product before you do the pitch. You should be a fan of it. And that's not to say that like, you have to have been a customer for 5 years and you used it. You can just broadly be aware of it, and it's something that you feel like you've wanted or you would wear, because you don't want to do things that come off as inauthentic, but you don't have to actually own that product. You can certainly, most brands, especially if the product isn't massively expensive, the expectation would be that they will be sending it to you if you're going to post about it. The other thing is like, if you have a Burberry trench coat, let's say, from last season, they're not going to want you to post last season's. So, everything, they obviously want you to post the things that are in store on the racks at this very moment. And generally that means that like, they're going to want to get that product to you. And a lot of times you might reach out, if it's the middle, end of the summer and you're reaching out about jean shorts, they probably aren't going to want you to post about that because it's about to go on sale, So you have to understand that thinking about that, like come mid-August, start thinking about fall. You start reaching out to brands and saying, hey, like, I lived in your jean shorts this summer, but I'd love to like do something when the fall line hits, and then they can get you those things, in advance or right when they come out, so that, for them, that's a lot more helpful than you talking about something at end of season. I think just think about like the way sales work and when brands put things on sale. If you're within a month of something going on sale, they're probably not going to want you to promote it, because they don't want to drive people to buy things on sale. So think about that. Think about like, I think most things probably spend 3 months at full price. More expensive things. I'm not talking like fast fashion, Zara, like, they're changing shit out every day. But kind of, brands that have a little bit more structured seasonality. You want to hit them in that first month or 2 of the season, definitely. Great question. So one thing is obviously getting all of your accounts connected. We want to show brands the full scope of your social following across a bunch of platforms. So even if you don't use your Twitter that much, it's worth just having it there so that they can click through and see it. I see some influencers that don't connect certain accounts because they're like, oh, I don't have a huge following there. That doesn't matter. We just want to see the breadth of everything that you do. So it's important to connect all those accounts and make sure that they stay connected. You should get a notification if one of your platforms becomes disconnected, but that's not always the case. So I would check once a week to just make sure that your stats are updating. If not, you just have to go and disconnect and reconnect those profiles in your settings. If you haven't disconnected and reconnected your Instagram recently, you should definitely do that, because then we can scan you for audience health, which is a tool we released a few weeks ago to show the health of your following and how many bots an influencer has. So if you haven't done that, you should definitely do that. And your description, I think it's good to change your main photo out every month or so, probably, just because brands, once they see your profile photo, they maybe like 3 or 4 times, your thumbnail, they may stop seeing it. So sometimes it's nice to have something different, because the brain registers that, says, oh, I haven't seen that before, what is that? So definitely worth changing that. Making sure your press links are updated. I would do like a one in, one out thing. Once you get 10 press or brand links, I would go one in, one out. So once you get a new press link, take an old one off. You don't need 50 press links on there. It just makes it so it's like the brand is endlessly scrolling. So those are kind of major tips. Look, your Fohr Card profile is driven by your stats and your numbers, and the bulk of what brands care about, you have absolutely no control over manipulating. So you want it to look clean, you want it to look professional, you want it to feel like you, but at the end of the day, the best thing you can do is have a growing following of engaged users across a lot of different platforms, and those numbers will do a lot more than anything you could change on your profile. If you don't have any press, it's not a big deal, and I wouldn't sweat it too much. Those are really more like accoutrement. Again, like the important thing is your numbers. If you have some interesting press, you should definitely throw it up there. But there's no profile where their press links are making or breaking them getting opportunities. Look, y'all. Again, as I said, next week we got some handsome man time. So that should be fun. So look out for that. We've got more cool TV stuff coming up, which I'll be able to talk about in a few weeks, which we're super excited about. And my co-founder, Rich, is getting married this week. So y'all could just slide over into the Real Rich Tong's DMs and tell him congratulations on getting married. He's getting married on Wednesday. So again, Real Rich Tong, slide into the DMs. He built the site, so you should say congratulations. Till next time.